Speaking out of Akron, Ohio, representing Team Popping the Boys, the headline god, Jeremy Lambert, and his co-host, speaking out of Atlanta, Georgia, representing more than one royal family, the king of indie viewing, Stephen Jensen. And this is the Spotlight on Fightful.
Welcome everyone to the Spotlight here on Fightful. I'm Jeremy Lambert, that's Stephen Jensen, and shout out as always to Big Dick MLJ for the intro. We got a lot to talk about in the world of pro wrestling, as we always do in the world of pro wrestling. It's a busy weekend. We got Crown Jewel Saturday morning, we got early SmackDown tomorrow morning, we got Bound for Glory, we got New Japan, we got GCW. There's everything going on this weekend. Jensen, how you doing? You ready for this weekend?
I'm ready for this weekend. I will be on the post show. Speaking of TNA, we'll be doing the Bound for Glory predictions here on this show, but I'll be on the post show with Joel Pearl and possibly Kross the Star. But I know me and Joel will definitely be there right after the show. So please check that out over on the Fightful main YouTube channel immediately following Bound for Glory. Yeah, man. And there's also been a lot of good MMA recently. Like, I don't know if you saw like Poetan winning the heavyweight title back and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been a pretty good run of like combat sports and a whole bunch of wrestling as always going on. Interesting stuff also. I saw Zeta Steele's leaving the ID program. That wasn't one of our spotlights, but just something to kind of keep your eye on. Like, always stuff happening in the world of pro wrestling every single day. So
if you want more WWE ID breaking news, Kylie Ray is also leaving the ID program. She said that her ID contract came to an end and was not renewed. Kylie Ray was the first and only women's ID champion. She's pregnant, so she had to relinquish the title. But basically, Zeta and Kylie were the two main stars of the ID women's program, and they're both done. It feels like this ID thing is not going anywhere.
Yeah, so that must have like just broken, that news about Kylie. So how did you say in there how long the deal was?
I mean, I imagine it was for a year because they just announced.
Was it a year?
Well, they just announced the program last year, and it's over now, so it had to be a year because they announced the program in October of last year.
Yeah, the reason I sound confused is because I can't believe it's already been a year since they announced that, but I guess it already has. Time flies, man. That's crazy. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the ID program, I think there's benefits to it, but I also see, it's weird. It's like a double-edged sword because while you're in the ID program, you're going to get some eyes on you that you wouldn't have otherwise, whether it be through like them pumping your social media and stuff like that, or like, shouting at your indie matches or having you on Evolve and stuff like that. But also in the grand scheme of things, like how many people are watching Evolve on Tubi, you know what I mean? So like the bigger WWE audience, like unfortunately doesn't know, Jack Cartwheel, even though like he's been in the program for, I can't believe it's already been a year, but I guess it's been around a year so that he's been in that program. So, but I don't know. It's interesting. Kylie, I'm not as surprised, mainly because, as you mentioned, she won the championship. She announced her pregnancy. She was going to be taking time off. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see if more people follow suit or if they try to like sign more people, new people to the deals. I don't know. It's interesting.
I don't think they're going to be signing new people to deals. I mean, they did the big wave of announcements this time last year, and they went to the different independent promotions. Like, this person's been ID'd. They made it a big deal, and then we got nothing for months. And then they announced the titles, and then it took them another couple of months for them to even get the titles situated and crown champions. And we've had no new signings over the last year. And the fact that these are like only 1-year deals, I don't think anybody got a boost out of this. They did evolve. It just seems like, all right, sign these people to evolve contracts if you want them to be in evolve and you want to use them on evolve, but still do independent dates. But like you said, I don't know how many people are watching evolve. I imagine not many, honestly. Like,
Probably.
I don't know if evolve is going to last past a year. Whenever that deal kicked in, I think it was March. I don't know if it's going to make it past a year. Like if it gets renewed or anything like that. I don't know the specifics of that contract, but it just seems like this whole thing is a failure.
Well, I mean, so a few things about that though. Like, not that I necessarily disagree, but like when it comes to the championships, we talked about that before. Like they convoluted the whole thing immediately when it was like there's a set of Evolve titles and a set of ID titles, and it kind of felt like it was a very similar pool of talent, kind of like competing for both because it was a lot of ID talent on Evolve. But what's also confusing is, remember the big thing with these ID titles was that they're defending them against people that if the challengers won the titles, they were supposed to get ID contracts. So like clearly there was an intention in this process to sign more people along the way, you would think at some point. But I don't know. I mean, has this whole thing been a failure? I can't really say, but like I'll say this, like someone like Marcus Mathers, for instance, I think would be successful like either way, like whether he was in an ID program or not, like he would make his way to either AEW or WWE and be like, I think he's gonna have a future as like a main, a TV star wrestler at some point, in his future, probably pretty soon, like regardless of if he was ID'd or not. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know how mutually beneficial it's really been. I also, to be fair, behind the scenes don't know what the WWE has like given these talents behind the scenes that we don't know about. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what kind of help they've gotten, whether it be, money or help with travel, or like whatever it is. Like, I have no idea, but like, I'm just kind of assuming that they were helping in that way, in some way, shape, or form. But like, I don't know for sure how that worked at all. So, I don't know. I don't know how beneficial it is to the talent. I can't believe we're already a year in, and there's already people leaving, because these aren't the first people to leave the program either. I think was it like Aaron Roberts, I want to say, left a little while ago. So yeah, we'll see. That wasn't even one of our spotlight topics today, but breaking news that was definitely caught my interest for sure.
I will say it. This whole thing's been a failure. I think it's been a failure, and we'll see what happens with it moving forward. If anything, nothing might happen with it moving forward. We shall see. All right, let's actually get into the WWE spotlight with everything.
I need to finish the story. In the WWE, the story never finishes.
WWE Crown Jewel this Saturday from Perth, Australia. It is 8 a.m. Eastern for everybody. It's an early one. It's 5 a.m. on the West Coast. If people want to get up that early on the West Coast, I will be up. I will be watching. I suspect the show will be headlined by Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. Go ahead and predict that Cody is going to win, Jensen.
I mean, you want to start off hot with the most obvious prediction of the entire show real quick?
Yeah.
It's a good place to start because, people already know who I'm going with here. Now, we've talked about it before, but Seth Rollins can gain more from this. I am a Seth Rollins fan. I just, I think it'd be really cool for Cody to have that second championship ring they could wear and keep filling his fingers up with those rings and keep one of those gigantic championship belts and, give me more, posters to buy and memorabilia to purchase. But yeah, Seth Rollins could definitely gain more from that. Now, also, this ties into this. we had speculated last week about who John Cena's last opponent could be. I have seen people saying it's going to be Gunther. Has that been like confirmed, or is that like pretty much it?
It's not confirmed. I mean, that's the report, but nothing's been confirmed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like how confident are you now after like last week? I like that was my prediction was Gunther. But we also made a good case. You made a good case as well for Seth Rollins. I still think that's a cool idea. What we talked about last week, like if Seth Rollins was the last opponent. Like this all ties in, by the way, because if Seth Rollins beat Cody Rhodes, for instance, and then Seth Rollins had all this momentum going into December, and Seth Rollins actually wound up being John Cena's last opponent, then I'd be even more so for Rollins winning, especially if the idea plays out of I really like that idea that we came up with about Cena winning that match and then them putting the title on the line in the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia in the Royal Rumble match. But if they don't do all of that, I just want Cody to win and then do Gunther versus John Cena, which is the match that I thought was the front runner, for that to be Cena's match anyways. So I'm obviously going to take Cody Rhodes. I would imagine that you're going to go with Seth Rollins, and I don't think I'm going to be able to disagree with whatever argument you have for that, honestly.
My argument is it's a better story if Seth Rollins wins, especially if it plays out of Paul Heyman uses Brock Lesnar to help Seth, because then you advance the Heyman, Brock, and Seth stuff. And who is Heyman really working for? I don't know if you saw the segment on Monday with Seth and Heyman, and Seth saying, I have to beat him, and Heyman saying, like, you will. Then Seth is like, well, what if I don't? And Heyman saying, well, you lose the trust of the locker room, you're the secondary champion, you lose the trust of Braun and Bronson. And then I question if I made the right decision choosing you over Roman Reigns. And it feels like there's going to be some type of master plan, whether it is Heyman's plan, whether it is Seth's plan. There feels like there's going to be some type of plan to have Seth win this thing. Cody winning I mean, you mentioned it. It accomplishes, hey, let's take a cool photo. That's it. There's no great story for Cody winning. Like, oh, cool. The guy who already has a bunch of accolades and refers to himself as QB1 gets another gaudy looking ring that they will never reference again until next year, potentially. And a belt that they will never reference again until next year, potentially. That's it. That's the whole purpose of Cody winning. It does something. Cody winning does a little bit for Seth, because it's like, okay, he really can't beat this guy, but there's more story if Seth actually wins. And if you want Seth to be your top heel, your top guy on Raw, you kind of need him to win this.
I don't disagree with any of that. Like I said, I didn't think that I would, and I don't. I think it's also very likely. I think we talked about that last week a little bit too. Brock Lesnar potentially helping Seth Rollins. And yes, I like that they're like Heyman is putting so much on Seth's shoulders, kind of with all of that, like making it feel like it's one of those things where it makes me feel like there's more to a plan, like you said, because I think on one hand, Heyman wants the fans to think that like he doesn't believe in Rollins to some degree, like making Rollins be like, you're like, did I make the right choice? Like, are we going to stop believing in you? But it's like all along, of course I believed in him. We had this whole thing planned this whole time. You know what I mean? There was never in doubt. I could totally see it playing out like that. And yeah, it is a better story. So I'm going to still take Cody Rhodes, but I also don't have like any money. Like, you know what I mean? Like I have nothing to lose by going for Cody. You know what I mean? So
I'm shocked you don't have any money on this thing. I just suspect you would.
Dude, speaking of that, this just reminds me. So on ESPN Fantasy Football, if you go like on the app and you try to change your team name to anything that has to do with like gambling, like I don't know how how many words will trigger it. But there was someone in our league who was complaining that he was trying to put like the words bet and gamble, I think, into his name, and they wouldn't allow it. It was like a forbidden word or term or whatever. And when you're literally looking at the app at your roster on ESPN, while you're looking at it, there's ads running that are like bet ESPN. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, what? And what's the funniest thing of all time, I don't know if you've seen this, but this is so funny to me. There are, so you know how like on every like gambling ad you see out there, there's always like the fine print and stuff about like, this is the number for like the gambling addiction hotlines. Like, if you have a problem, please call this number if you have a gambling problem. There are people that are placing bets on the hotline now where like people will bet on like how many rings it takes before somebody to answer the call for the hotline. Like, I'm just like, this has become so degenerate that like gambling has just taken everything over and extends to everything. Like last night, NHL, I found out the hard way that they've changed the overtime rules, Jeremy.
Have they?
I think it's just one overtime now and then a shootout. Before, I think you like went to multiple overtimes, right?
Absolutely not.
Oh, I thought they like had like multiple overtimes and then went to a shootout like after. Oh, just in the playoffs? Okay.
The playoffs, they will do multiple overtimes, 5-on-5 until someone scores. If someone scores 10 seconds in, then the game's over in 10 seconds. If it takes someone 2 hours to score, then the game will go 2 hours. The regular season for the longest time has been 3-on-3, 5 minutes, and if no one scores, it goes to a shootout. Yeah, they've not changed anything.
I was misinformed because they changed it in baseball like not that long ago, where like someone starts on second base.
Yeah, they changed it after the COVID year. Yeah.
I thought that had happened in hockey as well, where they had like shortened overtime, because I got 5 out of 6 on something last night myself on hockey. Time on ice. There was somebody that I chose. I got 5 out of 6 of them right. Just pick random people. The one guy who didn't wound up in the penalty box twice in the game. So like I took him off of the ice, and that's what wound up getting me. Anyways, that's a whole side thing. I stand corrected on the overtime NHL thing. I thought that had changed recently, but I obviously do not pay attention outside of the playoffs a little bit.
I like how you bet on this sport though, despite not paying any attention.
I go based off of like number type stuff. So
I get it.
Yeah. It's close. 5 out of 6. That's what everyone says. So close. Almost got it. Bad beats all day, every day. Oh, you want to hear a real bad one? The other day, I had a 6 out of 6, like all greens, ready to pay out on football. And one of my guys that I took was I'm blanking on his name. The running back for Jacksonville.
Trevor Etienne?
Etienne Jr.
Yeah, okay,
I had him for receiving yards on the game, and he got the over. Like he got he needed 12.5 yards on the game. He got 13, and then on the last drive of the entire game for them, he got a reception for a loss of 3 yards. So it went away, and $300 that I would have won disappeared. So
that's a tough one.
Anyway, that's don't get, if you have a problem, actually do call the hotlines. Don't place money on the hotline itself. Go out there and be responsible, have a good time, be adults. Anyways, what were we even talking about?
Jensen.
What were we even talking about?
Crown Jewel, John Cena, and we'll move on to John Cena and AJ Styles.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, I think John Cena is going to win. I just hope it's a really good match. And I like that AJ Styles seems to be, for good reason, too, because he's going to be wrapping up soon also. He wants to make this something special. So I think the two of them are going to set out to make sure it's a great match. And Cena has had great matches. The Brock match, you can't really count because that was the squash. But the two before that, or I think it was the only 2 before that. I could be wrong, but the second Cody match and the Logan Paul match were both really, really good. So and AJ Styles is like legitimately one of the best in ring of all time, in my opinion. We've talked about that plenty over the years that we've done this show. Like AJ Styles is on my short list of like some of my favorite performers ever. So like, can't say enough good things about him. I'm glad that, the 2 of them get to have this match. The fans want it, whether the WWE had this in their grand scheme, long-term plans or not, whether or not they did, like, we're getting it. So as a fan, I'm glad we're getting it. I think both guys obviously really wanted this to happen. And yeah, I think it's going to be a great match, but obviously I'm going to take John Cena to win this one.
I think Cena should win, especially coming off of the loss to Brock Lesnar. I think it makes more sense for John Cena to win this match. And then I don't know what he's going to do in his final appearances. He's got a couple appearances before Survivor Series, and then he has Survivor Series, and then he has his final match. Like, we're down to 4 after Saturday. So we will see what they set up and everything. Maybe he gets confronted by Gunther on this, and that sets up the final match. We shall see. But I think Cena should win this match. You gotta get him back on track a little bit heading into his actual final match. You can't have him just lose all the way up until his final match.
So I'm curious about this because there's an omission of a few major performers here off of the card, and I didn't see all of Raw, but I did get watch a good portion of it, and I really liked the stuff between LA Knight, CM Punk, and Jey Uso, and none of them were on this show. Like, have they announced like is that a match that's going to happen between them, or they just like tease stuff? Because obviously Jimmy's involved too, and they he super kicked him at the end and everything. Like, I thought that I think they have something good going. I'm just kind of surprised like that's not like a part of this show. Like, none of them are on the show.
No, I mean, this is what they do with their PLEs. They cycle guys on and off, and this PLE's been set. They're not going to be on this show. They're still in Australia for Raw, so I imagine they'll be over there, and they'll be part of Raw in some capacity, but I don't think this is going to get added to the show, honestly. Like, I would be a little surprised if it gets added to the show, because they are already at 5 matches, and that's where they typically
that's what they've been doing.
Yeah, it's 5 matches.
Yeah, I was just kind of surprised because I really, just for what it's worth, I like that segment a lot. And how much I have been an LA Knight guy, for forever, and a CM Punk guy as well, so it's just strange because like neither guy is really. They're both baby faces, but like the fans are kind of got to choose between them. But Jay is also Jay comes across the most like a heel, kind of, but like still gets a massive babyface reaction for the stuff he does. So, and then Jimmy like is kind of the wild card and all that also. And so it's like I'm interested by it, I guess, at the end of the day. And I think that this is the best position LA Knight's been in a long time. Like, I'll give him his credit. Like, I thought he held his own on the microphone with those guys. It wasn't just like all the same generic stuff that like I have a problem with. I thought he actually sounded pretty good. He like makes a pretty good case for himself, like that he hasn't gotten opportunities and he stayed over this whole time. So like, I gotta like give the credit where it's due. Like, I'm kind of getting on the LA Knight bandwagon right now. Like, he's kind of in the mix with like the legit top guys on the show and stuff. So anyway, just for what it's worth, I was kind of surprised they weren't announced for this show, but like I'm really interested in that storyline right now, honestly.
Yeah, you can find them on Raw, I'm sure. The women's Crown Jewel match, Stephanie Vaquer against Tiffany Stratton. Who you got in this one?
That's tough, actually. I'm gonna go with Stephanie Vaquer.
Okay.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's honestly kind of a toss-up, but yeah.
I agree because I think Tiffany's won a lot, and I think they want to maybe pull back on that a little bit and give Vecker kind of this moment and this accolade. Tiffany already has the big accolades. And she beat Trish Stratus. She beat Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. She's held the title since January. She hasn't lost like at all since then. Vecker, it feels like it's a bigger moment for her. So
yeah,
I think Vecker is going to win. I kind of feel relatively confident in this pick too.
Yeah. I mean, Stephanie's obviously got a really, really bright future. And like Tiffany, like you said, has won a whole lot. I don't really see a reason for Stephanie to lose. I'm with you.
Rio, or not Rio, sorry. That's kind of how to say it. Rio,
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley and Io Sky against Asuka and Kairi Sane, Kabuki Warriors.
I'm going to go with the combination of Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. It's like a super team. The two of them both rule. And I like Asuka and Kairi a lot too. Like this, I think, is going to be a really good match, actually. But I generally don't really pick against Rhea, like just really in general, honestly, either. So I'm going to go with Rio and Io. Now I'm doing it. Like I'm mixing.
I mean, that's what they say. They have the video up. It's RHYO, so it is like Rio
right
there. So it's just obviously not Riho, but there's also a Rio in England, which is RHIO. So yeah, but it's Rio, Io, and Rhea.
Yeah, who are you
Hopefully
taking?
Get it. I think it's better if the Kabuki Warriors win. I think I don't always love when two superstars get paired up who are bigger single stars, but they face a more cohesive tag team and they beat the more cohesive tag team. I mean,
like last night on Dynamite, like when the tag team champions just got beat by Okada and Takeshita.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't always love that scenario. And that's basically what this is. And that's what happens most of the time though, right? Like the two big single stars beat the more cohesive tag team. I think there's more if the Kabuki Warriors just win this match, but I don't think they will. I think it will be Rhea and Io. But yeah, like Rhea and Io were not on the same page for most of the year. Just a few months ago, they were kicking the shit out of each other at Evolution, and then they sure found mutual respect, and then through everything they became friends. But the Kabuki Warriors are a long established tag team who have had plenty of success in WWE. I'm pretty sure they're former women's tag team champions. I feel like everybody's won those titles at some point
for sure.
So I would prefer if the Kabuki Warriors win. I think there's more there with them winning than Rhea and Io, where it's like, okay, sure, the two big stars win again.
Yeah, I mean, we both agree, and I think we're both still taking Ripley and Io. Like,
yeah, I suspect that. I expect them to win.
Yeah.
And then Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed in an Australian street fight.
Yeah, so first things first, is Roman getting his own shoe, or is he just in an ad for Jordan's? Or
he's been doing ads for Jordan. So,
but has he gotten like obviously like I have the Young Bucks shoes, which I actually think are pretty cool. The pumps, I would totally get a Roman Reigns shoe.
I don't know if he's like officially getting his own shoe, but he's been doing like different ads for Jordan.
Yeah, I just saw one I think like earlier today or yesterday that I was like. It's like, yeah, why haven't they done his own shoe? Anyway, especially with like the storyline he's got going on with Bronson Reed right now, where Bronson took the shoe of follow. I think that's genius. I like this match. I'm kind of surprised it's this instead of Roman versus Braun Breaker, because like we already had.
Yeah, they're waiting on
match.
that.
No, I understand that as well. That's a big money match they can build up to. But yeah, I mean, I think this is still going to be really good. It's still Roman Reigns. Bronson Reed, I think is I mean, people all see it now for sure, but like I think I saw he did an interview the other day talking about his time away from WWE. You might know the interview I'm referring to.
He's done a lot of media, so you have to be more
Sorry.
specific?
Well, I'll just say in general, especially if he's told it to a lot of people. I just didn't want to like not source somebody when I brought this up, but basically like, and you would, I mean, you would imagine as well, like this would be the case, but like he went over to Japan, he beat Okada. You know what I mean? Like he had like big moments outside of the WWE. He did good work in TNA while he was there and stuff. Like he showed that he can really wrestle, and I think he moves around really damn well for a guy his size. He's like incredibly athletic. Like I think that like he has a really, really bright future, I think, in the WWE. So like I really like that he's involved in the vision and he's getting this opportunity. I just don't see any way that like I just don't see Roman Reigns losing to anybody one-on-one like anytime soon. So, you know, I just don't see Bronson Reed beating Roman Reigns, even though I think I'd talk about, you know, somebody who would benefit from a win. Bronson Reed pinning Roman Reigns 1, 2, 3 one-on-one would be humongous for him. I just don't see that happening. So I got to go with Roman Reigns. And once again, the bigger match there is Roman and Braun Breaker. So I don't see Roman losing and then going on to Braun Breaker. So
I think there's a good argument for Bronson to win. I'm with you that it's tough to pick against Roman Reigns. Like, he's Roman Reigns. He typically wins these matches against, and this is not a knock on Bronson Reed. They clearly see something in him. They're putting him in this spot. But Bronson Reed is kind of slotted where he is as a good upper mid-card guy, but not a tip-top guy like they are looking to slot in for Braun Breaker or like a CM Punk or like a Seth Rollins or Cody Rhodes. He's not that level of guy. And Roman, those are typically the guys he loses to. Is in especially in one-on-one situations. Yeah. Maybe he'll get pinned in a tag match or something, but in one-on-one situations, he typically beats the upper mid guys. But the tip-top guys is maybe when he'll take a loss. So I could see, though, I expect a lot of interference. Braun will come out. The Usos will come out. We might even get Punk and LA Knight coming out in this match. Like, we'll probably just have a ton of interference in this match.
Yeah, I mean, I figured that would happen either way. Not all those people coming out, but you know, that'd be, you know, it's not out of the realm of possibility that we get those run-ins. I definitely expect some sort of, you know, overbooked finish or whatever you want to call it. Like they'll have something will happen to make something happen and make something happen, and Roman will still win. He'll keep the Shula Fala, and you know, but Bronson, you know, just needs to rebound from there. Like they need to set him up after that with like a good win. Like I'd imagine they have something planned for him. You would hope, you know, considering the position he's in right now. So like, just because he's most likely going to lose to Roman Reigns, I don't think that Bronson Reed is like, you know, he's not like doomed, like, you know, because of that. I think he's still in a really good spot. They just have to have him beat someone good in like his next feud or something.
Yeah. All right. Anything else from Crown Jewel? Those are the 5 matches, everybody.
No, I'll be watching it live as well. I'll be waking up. It's not like it's like that early, I guess, to wake up at 8 a.m. So yeah, I'll be waking up early for me. I usually wake up around 9:30. So anyways, yeah, should be a good show. I'm looking forward to it. I enjoy all the WWE PLEs, and part of the reason is because I'm not like watching every single minute of every single Raw and SmackDown and like oversaturating myself watching the same stuff over and over and over again. I think that's where a lot of like the WWE fans and stuff get like the like fatigue from like the company, and like some of them don't. I generally enjoy most of the pay-per-views a lot, the PLEs. I like that there's the 5 matches and like, you know, and I think that they do a good job if you're not keeping up with it weekly, like telling the stories in between the matches and stuff with their video packages and stuff. So I'm looking forward to the show. I think it's going to be fun for me to watch, but I also saw the some of the backlash from like reviews of the first PLE on ESPN. I thought that was pretty interesting. Kind of the thoughts people had on all that. So hopefully people enjoy this one, and I hope Cody Rhodes looks good.
Well, if people don't enjoy it, then the show probably sucks. So that's on WWE. Make your show better. All right, AEW.
Over 1 million fans and a great number in the demo tuned in. And it was a great show, and I think it's been a run of great shows.
Samoa Joe and Hangman Page official for Wrestle Dream, and last night, or I guess Tuesday night on Dynamite, they had their face-to-face, and Samoa Joe said, "I lost sight of what was going down, but now I know my target is the world champion, and you are a fake world champion. You are a fraud, and I'm going to choke you out, and there's nothing you can do about it." And Hangman took exception to being called a fraud, and he said that the longer the match goes, the more I'm going to, the more advantage that I have over you, and I'm going to win, and then I'm going to survive your choke, I'm going to beat you, and then you're going to shake my hand, and you will know that I am not a fake champion. I thought this was a great promo segment. It really laid out the motivations of both men when it seemed like this might be a kind of an odd title match, considering Samoa Joe was sidelined after All In. That was one point where I was like, when Hangman was giving props to the Ops and Samoa Joe for like helping him through that whole time and then helping him at All In, I was like, Joe didn't actually help you at All In. He got taken out early in the show and was not around to actually help you in the match. But the rest of the Ops were there, and they did help Hangman leading up to the event and everything. They had his back. But yeah, Samoa Joe was not actually there for that main event scene with Hangman and Jon Moxley. But I thought they did a great job of putting as much heat and just pressure on this match that they could in kind of short notice.
Yeah, like you said, really short notice. Like, there's only so much you can do, and I think they've done a pretty good job. Like, we talked about it last week also. Samoa Joe, that's the major benefit of him just in general, that, like, you can just plug him into any situation. He's going to be credible. Like, literally went from multiple pre-show matches in the last couple pay-per-views to now potentially the main event, probably maybe Darby and Mox main event, do you think? Or do you think this will be the main event?
I think this will be the main event just because they like doing the world title as the main event, which I'm not totally against. And the only time they kind of make that exception is for a lights out match. I mean, unless they make this Darby and Moxley match a lights out I quit match, that's the only way I could see this not being the main event. I think Darby and Mox have a very strong case though, but because I expect Darby and Mox to do some very crazy stuff. They've already teased a lot of fire, and you kind of got to deliver on fire at this point, and you got to deliver on maybe even more than that based on just the history of Jon Moxley and Darby Allin. And the only way you're going to be following that up is with this match. Like, you can't put that match on early and then do the rest of the card. So if Darby and Mox is not the main event, I suspect it'll be the co-main event. If I'm making this decision now, what I think AEW will do, I think it will be the world title match just based on their history.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I'd prefer the world title to be the main event as often as possible. But like you said, depending on what they do in Mox versus Darby, because Darby whipped out a Molotov cocktail last night. Like, now, it's something like that needs to be used now in the match between these guys. Like, we need to actually see that in action. Thank goodness for that one security guard who tackled Darby to the ground.
Tackle too.
Yeah, that was clutch. I mean, he was ready to light the place up. So, as far as Hangman and Samoa Joe, though, the match I think is going to be great. I fully expect Hangman to retain. But like I said before, I didn't expect Samoa Joe to win the championship when he did from MJF. Like, in hindsight, it made a lot of sense with the timing because of like MJF being hurt at the time and Adam Cole being hurt at the time and all that stuff. But Samoa Joe has the type of credibility where like I like as a Hangman fan and where I see Hangman's title reign going and who I think will ultimately beat him for it and stuff that makes the most sense. I just don't see Samoa Joe doing that. And also, he's still 1/3 of the trios champions, right? They haven't lost those titles. So, could he potentially be the world champion and the trios champion? For sure. Like, it's totally possible. Mercedes Moné has like 10 championship belts. So, not out of the realm of possibility, and it is Samoa Joe, but, I think Hangman wins. And there's no reason for anyone to like turn here either, as far as like, I think Samoa Joe can be more of like the heel during the match, but at the end of the day, Samoa Joe like shakes his hand and like, or just gives him like an acknowledgement, just, whatever. But like, I think, you know what I mean? Like, I think Samoa Joe is still the same Samoa Joe after this feud that he was with the Ops before it. And then like, he just kind of keeps doing his thing. But at the end of the day, in complete honesty, I am such a Samoa Joe fan that like, I wouldn't be like incredibly upset if you wound up just like randomly win the championship, but like I just don't think that makes sense for Hangman and like in like the future of the title and everything like that. So I'm definitely going with Hangman as my prediction.
I think Hangman will win. I do think like Joe will shake his hand afterwards and admit that all right, you were the better man on this night, because Joe's got to then realign with Hobbs and Shibata and do ops stuff where you would suspect they're going to be babyface. I mean, maybe they tell a story coming out of that of Hobbs and Shibata are looking at Joe like, what the hell was that all about? Like, why did we do? Was that really necessary? Maybe you do something off of that, but I think they'll more than likely he'll show their sign of respect. He'll be babyface Samoa Joe, and they will move forward with whatever plans they have. I'm looking forward to the match, though. It should be a great match. Another match that was confirmed for Wrestle Dream was Kyle Fletcher against Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe getting an AEW TNT title shots. They are 2-2 against each other. And now we'll see if Mark Briscoe can win his first singles title in AEW.
Yes. So first off, I really enjoyed the match between Kyle and Kyle on Tuesday. I've for a very long time been a big advocate of Kyle O'Reilly. Like, I think he's one of my favorite in-ring workers like ever. Similar to AJ Styles, like as far as like I've been a longtime fan of his. Their styles are different, obviously, but Kyle can work with anyone, and I just always like, I'll never forget how right before Kyle got hurt, and like, because he was out for so long, right before he got hurt, remember he beat Darby Allin in like a tournament or something? It was like he was on his way to like getting an actual singles push, it felt like, AEW.
He faced Moxley.
He did.
Won, like, that tournament, and
that's right.
The Battle Royal, and he faced Moxley. And now I think that was his last match before having to go away. Yeah,
you might be right. And so it's like he had a lot of momentum before that. And I think Kyle Fletcher is fantastic as well. I think both these guys are great at what they're doing. But so I just wanted to kind of throw that out there too. Like, they can, like, Kyle O'Reilly can still obviously totally go. The Paragon is like, without Adam Cole and all the start and stops with all of that, and the conglomeration is very convoluted, but that's kind of what it's supposed to be, which is kind of ironic. But, I just hope that like they figure something to do with Kyle. Like, he had a long road of recovery, had to work his ass off to get back in the ring. He can have those kind of matches with like anyone on that roster that we saw on Tuesday. So like, I just want to see more of that from Kyle O'Reilly as a fan of his. And Kyle Fletcher looked great, and he won the match and he retained as we would expect him to. Mark Briscoe, great challenger. How many times have you guys wrestled each other? Do you know? It's been a few times now.
Yeah, they're 2-2.
2-2. Yeah. Okay. So rubber match. Like, do you I mean, coming off the MJF feud, especially, like, do you go with Mark Briscoe? Do you think? Like, do you think he finally, like, they have just the thing with AEW is they have so many championships. So, like, Kyle Fletcher could lose the TNT title and then immediately get in the mix for like the Continental belt or something with like him and Okada. Something happens between that. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many titles that, like, if you lose one, you can just kind of go for something different. Which I don't necessarily like, but it is just the reality. So I would say, like, I'd like Kyle Fletcher to have a longer reign, but like, I don't know. Mark Briscoe's got a lot of momentum. Also, he's very over, coming off the MJF feud and everything as well. Like I said, like, do you actually pull the trigger and go with Mark Briscoe? Do you think?
I would love if Mark Briscoe won. I think the world of Mark Briscoe. I think he's fantastic. I also really love Kyle Fletcher, and he's been doing great work as a heel. And that's why I'm intrigued more by this match even more than usual, because I think both guys are kind of at the top of their game right now as far as their babyface and heel personalities. And they've had great matches in the past, but right now both of them have like really hit their stride as far as character and motivation goes. I think Fletcher will win. I would not be mad if Mark Briscoe won. Yeah,
I'm with you. When it comes down to actual predictions, when the match happens, because we're only a week away from that. That's next. They're on a Saturday, right? Next Saturday.
Wrestle Dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wrestle Dream's on Saturday.
Next Saturday.
Yeah.
So we'll do, I guess, official predictions for the whole show next week, but. Yeah, early prediction. I'll say Kyle Fletcher retains, but I'm right there with you. If Mark Briscoe wins, how can anyone have a problem with that? Outside of AEW, like, kind of hot potatoing titles and stuff, but that just is what it is. Like, they protect a lot of their titles really well, but I just think they just have too many of them already, and they're adding even more. But that's another conversation in itself.
Let's go to, speaking of a lot of titles, let's go to the other spotlight.
Our product is what it is. We're going straight up the middle.
TNA Bound for Glory this Sunday. Maybe headlined by the Hardys and Dudleys. Maybe headlined by Mike Santana and Trick Williams. We shall see. But let's start with the Hardys and Dudleys. Tables match. NXT Tag Team titles now also on the line, along with the TNA Tag Team titles. Who do you got in this one? And is this match going to be a contender for match of the year?
So that's your second question. Probably not. Once again, another just quick plug. Post-show, Fightful Main Channel, me and Joel, and possibly Cresta, going to be reviewing this live. I just can't imagine any scenario where Team 3D wins the NXT and TNA titles right now.
Joel has this theory that Team 3D wins, and whoever wins the Call Your Shot gauntlet challenges them afterwards and beats them immediately. That's his big theory. I think he's dumb, but that's his theory.
Who does he think is going to win the Call Your Shot gauntlet?
I don't know. He probably an NXT team. He thinks Osiris Griffin is gonna win from Dark State, and they'll close the show, holding up the NXT and the TNA titles.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, to be fair, Joel would know better than me. He's the one reviewing it. He's the one reviewing it every week.
That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. I gotta go with the Hardys to retain here. The Hardys still rule, dude. Like these guys are still like, I mean, they obviously don't get around as well as they used to, but they still get around pretty darn well. They do the greatest hits a lot of the time. It's just like get the crowd into it, sell a whole bunch, like do the stuff people remember. Finish it off with a smooth twist of fate, swanton combo. Like take your shirt off when you're Jeff. Do the finger guns thing. That's all you got to do, man. And this match, I don't think really needs to happen, but it is going to happen. So I hope that it's good and that everyone's safe. and it's a one final table match. Is the technical term for this. So, is it official that like just first team to go through a table wins?
I don't know how they're doing it. If it's both, you got to put both people through a table or just one. I guess
Right.
We shall see.
I mean, like that's literally the only reservation I have, and it isn't because like the Dudley Boys are the masters of the table and they're gonna outsmart the Hardys. Like the only way it would make sense at all for Team 3D to beat the Hardys is like them putting them through table, not pinning or submitting them, not having an actual match with them. I mean, Bully Ray, I don't know how often he's still wrestling. I feel like I don't see his name popping up hardly at all. And like Devon, when is the last time Devon wrestled?
Devon hasn't wrestled. I think Impact 1000 was the last time.
And then last time before then, probably years before that. I mean, so yeah, I just hope that it's respectable. Like I got a lot of respect for both teams. I think the Hardys are, for my money at this point, like on it, I could probably say the Hardys are probably the best tag team of all time, in my opinion. It's debatable. I get it. Like you can throw their names out there, but for my money, I think at this point, like the Hardys are the goats. I'm gonna take them to win over Team 3D.
I think the Hardys should win, and we know it's Devon's last match. Like he's said as much. So them winning the titles and then just vacating them or doing this call your shot gauntlet cash in thing doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Just have the Hardys win. They're the team that's still going and going to be around for probably another 50 years given how they go.
Do you have any idea how long the Hardys deal is with TNA?
No, and they've kind of hinted around it, but they haven't said anything outright, because it was like a shorter term deal, but then it became kind of a longer term deal. So, but I don't know like when it's actually up or anything.
Because you just have to imagine that like their last actual run in a perfect scenario for them would be in the WWE, like, you know, not in NXT. And obviously the working relationship with these two companies at some point, I'd imagine we'll see that, hopefully at like WrestleMania or something. So, but yeah, I got to go with the Hardys to win this. I'll remember this though. If somehow Team 3D wins and then like the call your shot thing happens, I'll give Joel his credit live. So that's because I don't see that happening. I think that's a long shot.
Mike Santana and Trick Williams. Is this going to finally be Mike Santana's match?
I mean, it has to be, right? Like, but I've been saying that for a long time now. Joel's been saying that even longer than me. I feel like everybody's. But I've been saying that, like, you know what I mean? I'm kind of at like a loss for words because, like, I feel like I've made the same case for Mike Santana to win this championship every 3 or 4 months for the last like year and a half or something. So like I don't yeah, I feel like it has to happen at some point, right? Like, so it's got to happen now.
You would think, you would hope. We shall see if it finally does happen, but
because it was a triple threat on the last show, and that was like, okay, well maybe they'll just hold off and they'll do it as a singles match. Okay, well here's the singles match. So, but like before it was in New York and everything, it was so like that was the time, was the last show in New York with his whole family there.
Yes. That was the time, and they didn't do it.
Jose in the chat. By the way, we didn't even mention, but thank you everyone who's watching the show. I am looking at the chat while we're talking along here, and Jose Alvarado said if Mike's contract is up soon, I don't see him winning unless the call your shot winner is Ali, then he cashes in. Is there speculation about Santana being done with TNA anytime soon?
I don't know if there's speculation. I think that anybody who's been appearing on the NXT shows regularly, like Santana has, there's the natural speculation of, oh, when are they going to go to WWE? So I think that's about as far as it goes. I don't know his contract situation, though.
Because I would agree with both of you in that sense, in that case, I should say, because if Santana's contract is up soon, I do think WWE would be interested in bringing him into their roster. So I wouldn't see him leaving as the champion if that was the case, but I can't assume that. So I'm going to say that Mike Santana finally wins the championship, but he's going to wind up potentially in a similar situation to Joe Hendry, where it's like, okay, you're the champion. Now what? And like everyone's just kind of waiting for you to go to the WWE, it feels like. So it's almost like a lose. I don't want to get into that whole conversation about like how much TNA is gaining from this relationship between TNA and NXT. I'm not saying that they aren't. They absolutely have new eyes on the show, and at the very least, performers from TNA that they weren't aware of before. Like I can't definitively say like this has been bad all the way around, but like, you look throughout this stuff and it just seems very NXT friendly. You know what I mean when it comes to so it's like at some point also, and the reason I say all that is because at some point like TNA has to like actually get a good one on. They got to get like one lick back, like out of all this, like Santana beating Trick Williams definitively, especially if there's like no BS. If they just had a one-on-one match and Santana just straight up beat him, spin the block 1, 2, 3, like that would do a lot for Santana, and like people have been waiting for it forever, and like he deserves it. So, and Trick Williams never needed to be the TNA champion. Like the only reason it even made sense is because he's in no man's land, because for whatever reason I'm not going to sit here and say like he isn't ready for Raw or SmackDown, but for whatever reason he has not been called up to Raw or SmackDown, and you can only be the NXT champion or fighting for that title so many times for so long before it's like not much left to do here, also not getting called up. So the TNA championship kind of felt like an out, where it's like, well, you can still be the world champion. It's just over with you'll carry their title, so you're still the world champion. So you're still doing something like really relevant. But Santana actually like is in the company and has been trying to win this title he's been in TNA now for at least a couple years now. It's got to be at least 2 years, I feel like, at this point. So anyways, Santana should win. I hope he wins. I'm going with Santana.
I will go with Santana, but I don't feel super confident.
It's impossible to, right? Yeah.
TNA is TNA, and they're going to do TNA things. Leon Slater against Javon Evans for the X Division Championship.
So part of me needs to kind of like do some math here, because you'd also think that a lot of these, like how 50-50 are they going to, how much, how do I even say this? What percentage of matches is NXT going to allow TNA to win when they're going head to head with their talent? So like, I'm going to take Mike Santana to win the big one over Trick Williams. Does that mean that Javon Evans has got to beat Leon Slater? I will definitely say I love both of these guys. Like, I think that these guys are ultra talented. I think this is the match I'm actually looking the most forward to on the entire show. I've always loved the X Division title, and like these two guys embody like what the like original X Division was, like, actual innovative, game-changing moves, and like these guys are next level, and they're super young and like have their whole careers ahead of them, and they're already this good. Like, I can't say enough good things about Leon Slater and Javon Evans. I think Leon Slater should retain because he's in TNA. They have that great story with him winning the the X Division Championship, AJ Styles coming out and endorsing him and all that stuff. A huge mark out company moment. But it's like, if Santana and Slater both win their matches, like, no, I don't know how many. Like, I'd have to say, like, any of the other matches that are head to head, like, TNA loses everything else. Like, I don't know. Like, here's the thing: Javon Evans would be a great X Division champion. Like, he's the type of wrestler that like 1,000,000% could like carry that division, and him and Leon could be, they could have a whole series of matches, like a best of 7, and I would watch every single one of their matches with each other. So I'm not against Javon Evans winning. I just think that Leon Slater, like his rise to winning the championship and his moment with AJ Styles, for them to just take the title off of him the next pay-per-view just feels like it's just too short of a run for what it should be. So my prediction is going to be Leon Slater, because I just, for those reasons. But like, once again, if Santana wins the TNA championship, like, it's hard for me to think that TNA is going to like win all the big matches.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I think it would be a little foolish to take the title off of Leon after building him up and then ending Moose's reign with everything. But Leon also penned Javon on Tuesday, and that makes me believe that Javon might just win and get the title on Sunday. I don't think Javon is a bad representative on this either, like you mentioned. But I'd probably keep the title on my homegrown kind of guy here. But it is tough because you know that TNA is not going to win every title. Maybe they should. Maybe they should actually get their titles back.
They really should, but honestly. I mean,
it's probably not going to happen.
Right. Right.
And speaking of, Kalani Jordan against Indy Hartwell with the Knockouts title.
Right. So, like, I'm going to say Kalani Jordan retains here.
Fair.
Right. I mean, like, I think it'll be a solid match. But Kalani Jordan should retain here. She didn't win the title that long ago either, right? Like, they just made that change. All right. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to get my timeline ready up here. Sorry.
What are you trying to figure out?
Sorry, my computer's like making that noise again too. I was saying Kalani like just won that championship, didn't she?
Yeah, she got it at Victory Road because Ash by Elegance
she had to vacate. Right.
Yeah.
So once again, why take the title off of her that quickly? And once again, like, nothing against Indy Hartwell, but Kalani Jordan is also, like, she's NXT and she's got the TNA championship already. Like, so NXT wins, keeps the title. This is the one I'm probably the most like confident of, maybe on the whole show, honestly. So
I could see that Indy winning if Trick wins and Javon wins, then you would think Indy might get the title here. So
sure. If that happens, though, like, that is bad for TNA. Like, if all those things wind up happening that you just mentioned, that's like good for Indy Hartwell because she would win the championship. But like, that does not make TNA look good if everything else you just said just happened.
All right. Frankie Kazarian against Steve Macklin for the international title.
That's another one where, like, I don't know why they really took it off Macklin to begin with. But I don't know. I guess I'm going to go with Kazarian fascinates me because, like, he won the trophy, to call a shot or whatever, right? And I just feel like I don't want to. How do I say this? I've always liked Frankie Kazarian. I've always thought he was a really good wrestler, especially in a tag team. I was a big fan of his in the early 2000s. I just don't see any reason why, like, he should be beating Steve Macklin, why he should be in the world title mix when he was. I just don't get it on TNA's roster. Like, I'm just not that interested, to be 1,000,000% honest. But I like Macklin a lot, and both these guys go 100%. I mean, I got to give Kazarian his credit. He's going to work his ass off. And Macklin always goes like 120%, in all of his matches. So I think it'll be solid. My prediction is Kazarian wins, but I would prefer if Macklin did. So
yeah, I would like if they put the title back on Macklin.
Yeah.
The Hardcore War, the System against Order 4.
So this is a tough one to. I like this Hardcore War. that's like the best, scenario, especially for guys like Eddie Edwards. Mustafa Ali also very creative in these types of matches. This one's kind of a toss-up on who I think is gonna actually win. I'm gonna go with the system. I'm gonna say Moose gets the win for his team.
I think the system wins as well. Inspiration against the Elegance brand for the Knockouts titles. Tag team titles, I should say.
Sorry, are you can you see me okay? You were freezing for a second.
Yeah.
You got me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say Inspiration retains. Once again, became the champions recently. No reason to take the titles off of them.
The Call Your Shot Gauntlet, we don't know who's in it, so kind of tough to make a prediction. Unless you want to throw out a prediction of somebody who might win this thing.
No, I mean, because it makes it even harder because, the possibility of maybe an NXT talent winning. So I just feel like there's just way too many options. So I would have liked to know who Joel thinks is going to actually win and be for the tag team thing. It's just too wide open because they can challenge for any championship. So I mean, Jordan Grace has won this before and then, went for the Knockouts title. So it could be anyone. So no idea.
Joel doesn't know who's going to win. He has no idea. And then Tessa Blanchard against Gia Miller.
I'm just to take Tessa.
Gia Miller should pin her in like 30 seconds.
Yeah. I think it's a good show. Sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, I think an NXT talent's gonna win this Call Your Shot Gauntlet, by the way.
Yeah, so do I. I think that's probably at least that's something interesting and different that they haven't done before.
More NXT talent getting TNA accolades.
Well, no, like the possibility of that thing getting cashed in on either show is really more what I meant. But no, you're right. There's been plenty of NXT wrestlers getting TNA accolades, so no shortage of that.
All right, let's go to the indie spotlight.
I'm gonna give a big motherfucking shout out.
Killer Kross is back in MLW. He's going to be re-debuting at the Don Gatto show in November. What do you make of Killer Kross returning to MLW coming off this WWE run?
So, first off, that video that I saw, like that promo video, almost like a music video, it looked really similar to, like, not, I don't know if the same person that did the Mox one, like when Mox left WWE, remember he had like his like.
That was Nick Mondo who did that.
Oh yeah, good call. I forgot that. It reminded me of that, and I thought that was really smart when Moxley did it, and it created a lot of buzz for him. Like before AEW started up, and he wound up, joining AEW not too long after those videos and stuff. So I thought it was a really well done video for Killer Kross. And as far as, what he's going to do in MLW, I'm interested to see, because obviously the whole wrestling world kind of wants to know what he's going to do next. I did see a little bit of his interview with Chris Van Vliet. And him and Scarlett are very adamant that this is not a work, everybody, and like this is obviously they're working in other companies, and if they got the opportunity in AEW, like they'd be all about AEW and stuff. So I'm interested to see, because obviously they showed up in GCW almost immediately, and he's been involved with Bloodsport over the years and stuff. So I mean, he's got a lot of options. So MLW is a good, he's got history in MLW, obviously. they haven't announced anything about like who his opponent's going to be or anything in November, right? It's just the video package.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people he could wrestle there, especially people around his size that are towards like the top of their kind of pecking order right now. Like obviously their champion is Cruel. Cruel versus Killer Kross could be very interesting. Two big monsters who can both really work. Obviously you can say similar things about like Bishop Dyer and especially Donovan Dijak. Like those guys, you can Killer Kross could mix it up with any of those guys, and I think it would be really solid for MLW. And then they have just even random stuff. Like, I mean, you can do like Killer Kross versus Satoshi Kojima, for instance, and like I think it would be really good. And so, I mean, it's got a lot of really good options. And I've said it a lot, over the years, especially covering it on the Weekender. Like, I think MLW, if you're a fan of MLW, I think they give you a really good product that you can get behind. Like, if you like the MLW product, I think they're pretty damn consistent. Like, for the most part, like some shows are better than others. But the fact that they kind of, for so long, like their stuff was so pre-taped so far in advance. Now it's just really cool that on such a consistent basis. Now it's like live show, taped show, and it just feels like it's constantly fresh, and they have a lot of really good talent there. So, Killer Kross is in a company that I think is doing pretty well as far as like, they got a lot of good talent. They put on good shows. Interested to see what he does there. Do you have any prediction on who you think that they're going to have him coming in? I mean, obviously I'm assuming he's wrestling in November because they're advertising it this far out.
I think he'll get kind of a, I don't say warm-up match, but something light to start with. Like I could see him facing someone like Matthew Justice to start, and then build them from there. That's kind of my initial prediction. I don't think he's going to come on because I don't know if they know how long-term he's going to be, and so if you're not sure how long-term something's going to be, like how much are you going to put behind them immediately? And so I think they're going to kind of start it off a little slow.
Yeah, I can see that too. We'll see. Let's see how it goes. But yeah, good for him. I mean, I'm interested to see what he does next. He's always been a solid performer. So.
And then the other indie spotlight, Sean Ross Sapp got a stunner from Shotzi Blackheart and then punched John Cena.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw it out there on the show. We didn't have to even go that into it. I saw that he got a headstone on MLW from Sean, which is pretty cool. Had some crossover there. But what was the foundation? The exact foundation that one too?
I believe Dementia Society. That's what Sean has been doing.
So I'm proud that he's doing that kind of stuff. I know I don't keep up with a whole lot of stuff online nowadays. I'm honestly really not on social media hardly ever. But I see a lot of people have a whole lot of opinions whenever Sean gets involved in wrestling, and I just feel like people need to quit being such hater ass bitches, if I'm being completely honest. Like, he's going out there, he has the respect of the wrestlers, like it's for a good cause. He's not making anybody look bad that doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, it'd be different if he was going out there and like beat the shit out of Killer Kross, you know what I mean, in 30 seconds. People would be like, what the hell is going on? But that's the opposite is happening. He pretty much makes a fool. He takes the stunner and punches air on the way down. He gets thrown out of a battle royal and like runs halfway up the entrance ramp with his pants down, pretty much. He'll crawl all the way to the back, like he's in it to make a fool out of himself, to raise money for a good cause, spread a little awareness as well to Fightful Select, and so I mean, I think it's cool. Even my dad's like not all my dad sees on social media is like whatever I retweet pretty much, and like he'll be like, what's up with all the stuff people say about Sean? Like, because he'll just like say, like his timeline will somehow have like the algorithm will feed him like negative wrestling content every now and then because he follows me and only like a couple other people. And even he'll ask me about it. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know why people get so worked up about this. But yeah, I just thought that's pretty much the only reason I wanted to make the spotlight today. I think it's cool when he pops up and does stuff like that. And it's funny too, because people don't even realize who hate on him. Like he actually, like, to his credit, like I've seen him throw some pretty legitimate kicks and stuff in there. Like he's not I hate to say it, but I've seen much worse pro wrestlers that I've covered on the indies for a long time that actually aren't even as good as he is in the ring, which, yeah, to be completely honest. I'm not saying he's the best I've ever seen either, far from it, but he's actually far from the worst, if I'm being completely honest. So, yeah, anyway.
We had Shotzi on In the Weeds yesterday, Wednesday. Sean showed up in a neck brace. So
see,
yeah.
There you go.
So if you want to see the fallout from that, the interview is up on the channel right now. Everyone can check out our interview with Shotzi, who was really fun. Who might be our new boss, honestly. She might run Fight Club now. So shout out to Shotzi. She's a good person, so we appreciate her coming on. All right, Jensen. Anything else? We'll relatively shorter show today. But
yeah, I thought we were gonna like go on longer because of having all the predictions, but we actually kind of flew right through the show today.
And WWE only does 5 matches, so you kind of get through that sort of quickly.
True, because like next week we'll do AEW, and that's going to take like an hour to go through that 13 match card or whatever they're going to have. Yeah. So that's true. Kind of didn't plan that out right. Sorry, everybody. Otherwise, I probably would have booked a guest to come on, and we actually would have had an extra like 15 minutes. Would have been perfect. But you guys got 2 guests last week, so to make up for it. So there you go. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, outside of, my Vikings, they got another win last week with Carson Wentz. So they're on their bye week now. And I fully expect JJ McCarthy to be the starter again coming off the bye. But it's good to know that if we need to hit the emergency button again, that Carson Wentz at least can win us some games. I did watch your Carolina Panthers as well. I have Dowdle on my fantasy team and Bryce Young as well. And it was good to see what you guys did. I mean, I think that, if the Dolphins weren't already in like such disarray, that game, it still might get McDaniels fired from his job as the head coach at the Dolphins.
They would have fired him by now if it was going to be based on that game. I don't think they're going to fire him on a Friday before another game. So he'll survive another week. But if they lose again, then all bets are off. Yeah,
it's true. But I guess that's kind of getting at the writing's on the wall. I think, anyways, they've got a lot of problems. I feel like they're, but yeah, but anyway, it's some bright spots for you guys, man. Bryce Young, when he looks bad, he looks awful. But when he gets cooking, he's actually not that bad, honestly.
He had a very rough start and a terrible turnover, 2 terrible turnovers, and then he calmed down and they didn't abandon the run game, that's what a lot of us fans have been wanting for these past since the start of the season. Is I think Bryce is fine. I don't know if he's a game changer at quarterback, but I don't know how many game changers there really are at quarterback nowadays. You got to have the right weapons around guys at this point. But they got away from the run game so much. It's why? Our run game is our strength. We just paid Chuba all this money. We got Rico for not all this money, but both guys had 1,000 yards last year. Why aren't we running the ball more? And then finally, they actually stuck with the run game despite trailing early in the game, despite being down 17-0. They kept with the run game. And it's that actually paid off. And that opens up Bryce to make some throws. And look, he made some big-time throws in the fourth quarter. The 4th and 5 to Jimmy Horn Jr., he hit Liggett on a really nice out route. So he made some big-time throws in the fourth quarter. I think Bryce is fine. Again, he's not a game changer, but there are only so many Josh Allens and Patrick Mahomes, and Mahomes struggling right now. But there's only so many of those guys in the league anyway. I think he's a good quarterback who can make timely throws and lead teams. It's very funny that he has 8 wins in his career, and 7 of them are game-winning drives. Literally the only non-game-winning drive that he's game that he's won was the Falcons game this season when they won 30-0. That's the only time Bryce has won a game where it wasn't a game-winning drive for him. Oh, I know he can like lead the team down in fourth quarter situations. He's very good at that. The problem is they play themselves out of the game quicker because their defense hasn't been good and the offense generally hasn't been good over the past few years. I'm not getting too high hopes. The Dolphins suck. And last time we did this after we beat the Falcons, it was like, oh, now we're facing I forgot even who we played the week after, but they weren't a good team either. And we get completely steamrolled by them. So I'm not getting too high just because they had a good win against a bad Dolphins team.
True, but like you said, 2 really good running backs. I know Chuba's out right now, but I don't think he's going to be out too long. And Rico put up 200.
Yeah.
That also, were they already at like a 50-50 split or close to it between those two guys?
Yeah, and that's sort of been an issue too, is Chuba probably should have had more bulk of the carries early in the season, but they were splitting a little bit too much. And then Chuba is out, so now Rico is going to get the bulk of the carries. But they just abandoned the run too much in the first 4 weeks. Like, that's the strength of the team. Why are you going away from that? And you see what happens when they don't go away from that.
Yeah, well, I hope you guys continue to play well because due to the Vikings having a bye this week and some other stuff for my fantasy team, and because just the nature of my fantasy league, how many people we have to roster in different positions and stuff, I'm going to roll with Bryce Young as one of my starting quarterbacks this week. So hopefully, I'm really hoping for more screens to Dowdle. Like they could make that a thing because that guy's good. That guy's really good. Like, I feel almost bad for him that he's got to split carries with her. I mean, I get it because Chuba is getting paid, but like,
I mean, when he chose to sign here, he knew he was coming to split carries with Chuba. It's not like it was a mystery to him that Chuba was going to get these carries. They're facing the Cowboys this week. Dowdle used to play for the Cowboys. He's already been talking a little bit of shit. So the Cowboys defense is not good either. Like, this is, if there's going to be a good game for Bryce, like, this is a game where you got to take advantage of this awful defense. The Cowboys offense is good. I think it'll be a high scoring game.
Well, I hope that it is. And yeah, I need to win more of my fantasy football games. I'm not doing terrible, but I'm not doing well. I'm 2-3, but like most of the league is kind of tied around like 2-3, 3-3 right now, or 2-3 and 3-2. It's a lot of people right in that boat. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything, nothing else really. I am looking forward to watching a whole bunch of combat sports. Also, baseball playoffs. Been watching a lot of that. NHL is back for you, Jeremy, so that's good. I saw that LeBron's going to be out at the beginning of the NBA season. I'm sure SP3 is thrilled about that. I also saw that LeBron had a big announcement that wound up being an ad for like Hennessy or something. So that's everyone got, I guess. Yeah, and
idiots got.
Is this his last season, do you think? Or they've been saying that for a long time, haven't they?
No, I don't think it's his last season. I don't think he'll decide that until, I think maybe next season will be his last season. But whenever he announces his last season, he's going to do it in the middle of the offseason and make a big deal out of it.
John Cena retirement tour style. I mean, it's smart. Do you think that he'll end his career with the Lakers?
I don't know, because this is the last year of his deal, because he opted into his contract. So he's a free agent after this year. So it's possible that he just signs with whatever team he wants to in the offseason and goes from there. So I legitimately have no clue.
Interesting. I think he'll just wind up signing with like Cleveland or some other team for one more year or something.
I mean,
Who
he'd
knows?
have to take a pay cut if he wants to do that because Cleveland doesn't exactly have the money to sign him.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know the ins and outs of the NBA salary cap right now. Oh, that's a whole other thing is like the college football with the portals and all this stuff. That's once again a whole other conversation in itself. But I've been seeing all this stuff about Bill Belichick and how bad it's been going for him at UNC. That's just that whole situation is just mind blowing. As a longtime NFL fan, like to see what he was with the Patriots, winning 6 Super Bowls, and like the discipline and the don't do like no one stepped out of line with the team and all this it was so successful, and then like you see what he's up to now, and like just like man, this is kind of wild. I don't think he's going to be there much longer. Talk about an experiment that isn't working. So yeah, that's pretty much all that I've got. I just find that the Belichick stuff is fascinating to me. But have you seen any of this stuff?
Yeah, I've kept up with the whole Belichick stuff, the whole
it's
saga.
embarrassing.
Yeah, it's a lot. I don't know if he's gonna end up leaving UNC and returning to the NFL or what. I have no idea with him.
I have a feeling the players in the NFL would see what happened after he left and like just lose respect for him. But
maybe, but he's also like 5 wins away from being the winningest coach of all time.
Yeah, but it's also pretty telling that like he couldn't get a job after he left. Like he had coaching interviews with like the Falcons. I remember the Falcons for sure because I live in Atlanta. I remember that being a thing when like everyone here thought he was going to be the Falcons coach. But like he sat there for like at least a season, maybe 2, without any coaching opportunities in the NFL, and then decided to do this thing at UNC. But that's also, I mean, people also probably are a little, shaky on him because after Brady left, he had like 3 seasons with the Patriots where they sucked, and it was like, oh, was it you or was it Brady this whole time? So because Brady left and then won a Super Bowl with the Bucks, so like proved he was pretty good. But anyways, that's all. That's your weekly football talk, our overtime talk here. Who you got winning the World Series? Do you have any baseball pick?
It's tough to go against the Dodgers. I know they're not even out of the second round right now. They're playing right now actually, and they're down 1-0. So that could go to a game 5 if they end up losing this game against the Phillies. But the Dodgers have looked good. The Blue Jays just beat the Yankees. I don't have a strong enough. I don't watch enough of the season. I don't know enough of the players. I watch the playoffs. I've been watching the playoffs relatively closely, and I mean the Blue Jays look really good. I think maybe the winner of the Detroit and Seattle series has a good shot. I realize I just named literally
all the teams.
Every team, every team that was out there. So yeah, one of the teams left will win the World Series.
Yeah, my prediction before the playoffs was the Mariners, so that's what I'm going to stick with. I've watched a lot of baseball this season because of picking on props, and I just think they have the most stacked. Well, quite a few of these teams have really stacked lineups, but I think that theirs is just the most stacked from like. I mean, they switched the batting orders up quite a bit nowadays, like more than I remember from when I watched when I was younger, at least. But like, anyway, they only 9 people bat, and I'd say like 5 of them are like studs that hit, get on base often or just crank home runs. But every team's got some of those kind of guys now too. Like Kyle Schwarber is unreal with the Phillies. He goes yard all the time. My dude with the Mariners is Josh Naylor. Like I'm a big fan of his, but they got a lot like Eugenio Suarez and Julio Rodriguez, and I mean they got a lot of guys on the Mariners. Cal Raleigh, of course, big dumper. I mean he's the number 1 home run hitter all season. But yeah, then you look at like the Yankees just got eliminated and they're stacked. I mean,
yeah, the Blue Jays just scored the most runs in a 4-game series ever. So they put up like 38 runs against the Yankees. So.
Vlad Guerrero Jr. is unreal. Like I remember watching his dad when we were growing up. I remember him swinging at everything, and he hit everything. He was the man. He was like the only thing I remember pretty much about the Expos. I think Otis Nixon might have played there too, but like Vlad Jr. is on. Yeah, he's unreal. But yeah, I mean, we can go on and on about all the talent that these teams have. Like the Dodgers, their whole lineup. Also, you got Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman and Will Smith, and I mean they got just so many people on these teams. But anyways, I'm going with the Mariners. I'm going to stick with the Mariners. Yeah, who's your official pick? You went through every team, but didn't pick anyone.
I'll go with the Dodgers. That'll be my official prediction.
So pretty cool. I mean, that's a pretty solid pick. And also, I like Ohtani a lot. I think it's super cool that he's not just like a novelty, like that he's a pitcher. He actually like is a good pitcher. And he's a great batter. Hits a lot of home runs. Pretty cool that there's somebody out there doing that at a high level of both. So it's also why he makes insane money.
Yes.
Insane money. Anyways, that'll do it. That'll do it for me.
All right. Anything to plug, Jensen?
Yeah. Once again, this weekend after Bound for Glory, myself and Joel Pearl and possibly Kross the Star will be on the Fightful Main YouTube channel reviewing TNA's Bound for Glory. You can follow me on Twitter on X at @FightTalk_. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. Continue to support the work over there, and you can listen to the entire back catalog of the last 7 years of the Weekender podcast over there as well if you want to check out anything that happened. If you want to know about indie wrestlers that you're finding out about now that are currently on shows you know about, and you want to be like, hey, I wonder what they did on this random show 7 years ago, you can find out what they were doing over there on FightfulSelect.com.
Myself and somebody will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern on In the Weeds. I don't know who. Joel has messaged and said he will not be. He is an obligation that has popped up. So maybe SB3 will be there to co-host with me. Maybe not. Maybe I'm doing a solo show. Maybe Cam Hawkins will join me. Maybe Andrew Zarian will join me. I have no idea right now. But for right now, it's just me. And we'll see if I have a co-host tomorrow on In the Weeds. But that'll be tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. Busy weekend with everything. Appreciate everybody hanging out. Appreciate all the support, everyone. We'll be back next week. New episode of The Spotlight. Bye, everybody.